Welcome back, ninja community and persons that have just become ninja enough to view my materials for the very first time. Congratulations on becoming ninja enough to view my materials. In this video here, I'm going to be covering some deadly strikes with a tonfa. That is what this is. This is a tonfa, also called a side-handle baton. It is sometimes referred to as a nightstick or a police baton, but the proper name on a fixed-handled side-handled baton, the Japanese version, is a tonfa. It evolved from a martial arts weapon, which evolved from a crutch over in China. It's an extremely old and versatile weapon that has been utilized throughout eons as a highly effective weapon. In this video, I will be covering some basic strikes with also some deadly strikes with a tonfa. So before I get into that, I will go over my quality statement and disclaimer, mostly out of liability, so bear with me as I run through it. That of course is that the viewer, that's you, understands my quality statement and disclaimer video. Additionally agrees that this video right here could be treated as is with ballistic protection, which in short means it don't have a seal on it, therefore it don't guarantee the techniques and or your application of the techniques. And if you're watching this video with the intention of using any of its content in committing a crime, that is additionally a crime. Actually using my content in committing a crime, or with the intention, is an additional crime. Okay, so in my last video I covered the wrap shot, which is basically here, and if someone blocks this wrap shot, you could come across with a strike against their face. Okay, another thing about the basic strikes from a tonfa is using it like a baton, holding it as though this wasn't even here. As a baton, it could come from a strike across the top here, hitting the jaw or the jawline. That is a basic strike. And if you pivot as you struck, it gives the weapon more power. If it is held like this, the intention of this weapon is to dislocate the jaw or break bones or dislocate the knee. That is the weapon's intention when held in this manner. Unless your opponent has something like a shield or other weapon, you could do a raking motion to like hook the weapon and then bust them in the face. That is the other way, the other reason to hold a weapon like that. If your opponent does not have a large weapon, something that could be used to like block with, right? Then, or just basic blocks, then the only intention holding it like this is to dislocate the jaw, okay, come around and possibly dislocate the knee. As this weapon held in this manner, that is the intention. This strike here like that, even in other areas, usually is enough power to break bones. If you're not generating enough power to break bones in this manner, then chances are you probably should do some more training, as you're probably using improper form or technique. If you just wanted to strike your opponent, maybe subdue them from this position here, a strike to the chin or the jaw, right, or at the temple, is usually enough to knock your opponent out. If you struck your opponent from a jab, or even from back here, if you struck your opponent that way, that's usually enough to generate enough power to cause serious damage. If it is ever held this way, the intention behind it is to do deadly strikes from this position. Even if someone were to take a swing and you blocked it, this part right here could be used to hit the collarbone or at the base of the spine. The base of the spine is right here. And even in competitive martial arts or sports, any strike at the back of the head is completely out because it can kill your opponent. If anyone strikes the back of your head, typically the intention is to kill the opponent. It's very difficult to defend that in any courtroom at least from the dimension I'm from, to ever strike anyone in the back of the head or at the base of the spine is highly damaging and could be taken as attempted murder. As this strike here being a highly deadly strike, as I have mentioned, usually if a real shinobi was using this weapon with the intention of killing their opponent, it's usually going to come from either a distraction by either slapping them in the face or an eye strike from here. And then from this position here, wrapping the side here would be to distract them as they pivot and strike at the spine. Even if your opponent had become provoked from a slap to the face and they ducked into me, this strike here could even come from this side here and hit the base of the spine, and could even be powerful enough, if one was doing this with enough skill and technique, could be powerful enough to sever the spine, causing death nearly instantaneously. Okay, so if you've watched the video so far, you should probably hit like hard like a ninja and subscribe to be alerted for when I do videos on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Check out my other videos, and I will keep going with some of these techniques. From this position here, one could simply do a punch straight in at your opponent's face, usually around the mouth or the throat. The general idea is to hit it somewhere near the face, like right here. Would typically be landing even a punch at the neck. This punch here is enough to usually cause serious damage to your opponent. That's why it should never be held across the top, because a real shinobi is going to interpret this as my opponent is either unskilled with it or they're actually intending to kill me. Using it as a baton, as a two-handed weapon, it makes a very effective standing grappling weapon. Usually one of the best moves is to either strike under the armpit from an opponent taking a swing, or to throw this up behind the back, and would typically cause like a fulcrum action to take your opponent to the ground. If one tried to do the same movement to a shinobi, they're usually just handing the shinobi a weapon, as from this position is usually where the very best techniques come from. The very best defensive techniques. Clarifying. Defensive. As this wrap shot here, if my opponent had decided to become more aggressive, this wrap shot is more effective against my opponent, as a duck in will usually hit them in the temple, typically knocking them out. So if my opponent was more aggressive, this wrap shot hitting with just this part, and it could even be done from that position there, just doing part of the wrap shot, right? If they had ducked in, that this right here will typically knock them out. If my opponent had blocked, typically I could use this as a fluid weapon and hit them in the face. I think I'll do another video on the tonfa with some more deadly strikes in an upcoming video. I have no idea when I'm going to do one of those. Comment on what kind of weapons demonstrations you would like to see, and of course I might make that one unlisted. But that deadly strike from this position is usually a distraction hit, and it is a strike at my opponent's neck or at the base of their spine. If my opponent had ducked in, I would be striking them at the base of the skull, typically instantly killing them or causing serious damage. So anyways, congratulations on being ninja enough to view my materials for the very first time, and Like, comment, subscribe, share. Check me out on Facebook under my artist name or my 10th Ninja name, Mel-El. That's M-E-L-E-L. And I have an Instagram, but I'm not going to tell you what my Instagram name is. You'll just have to be Ninja and go figure that out on your own. So, until next time, my friends, stay ninja.